And thank you for joining us for this pre-match press conference with Proteas bowling coach, Charl Langeveldt. I would like to remind you all once again to please keep your devices on mute and to please indicate whether you'd like to ask a question in the chat section. Who would like to go first?
So, good afternoon, everyone.
Zahir.
How's it, Charl? Zahir here. Just a take on the bowlers in terms of when they came back from lockdown. You know what? Obviously, they haven't played for 8 months, and you know what shape were they in, and how long do you think it's gonna take for them to find their full rhythms?
Yeah, no, Zahir, I think that most of the guys have been playing 4-day cricket, so they've been bowling. They haven't played a lot of T20 games because of the COVID. We obviously missed out on our 2 warm-up games in the T20 series. I think it's just match fitness, playing the certain format. You know, T20 is a lot different from 4-day cricket. So in saying that, it's always, we all professionals, we try and speed up that process, but it's difficult to get that to match intensity because you just have to practice as we would like to play the 2 warm-up games.
So Charl, would you say that you know what we saw in the T20 series and when it went wrong was the lack of execution was due to, you know, just not having that opportunity to go out there and you know, like, and just pin your Yorkers or and get your cutters going for, you know, for a long period of time and then it'll come back?
Yeah, it purely comes down to execution. I always say it's how you execute when you're under pressure. And you can train as much as you want in the nets, but it's not the same intensity as in the game, for instance. So it just purely comes to identifying the moment, the big moment in the game, and being able to stay calm in it and then execute.
Thanks.
Cass, Fidos, and Ken.
Charl, good afternoon. It's tough coming back from lockdown, but I think even tougher when it comes to younger players. How do you manage someone like Luukandla who everyone has said has great potential, but obviously comes unstuck against a top team like England?
Yeah, Cass, it's been hard on Luto. I think he hasn't played. He played in the last game in Potchefstroom, so he hasn't played any 4-day crickets, any competitive cricket. So it was hard on him. And you knew with the top team like that, they're always going to target him, but you know you need to speak to him, analyze his own game, and you know try and calm him down in the situation. We tried to prepare him as well we could, but obviously we all saw that like in the game, it's hard when you put under pressure, especially against a top quality team like England.
Hi, Charl. Just wondering what the team and maybe even yourself personally make of England's plan to use certain kinds of coded symbols, and they're holding up numbers on the dressing room door, and it's sort of a communication plan. What do you think of that? And have you got anything crafty like that up your sleeve?
Yeah, no, it's just in the last game we saw it a bit. I think the media showed it and we didn't know they were using it. I think a guy like Corey Van Zyl used to use it when he was when he was coaching at the Knights. Maybe I don't know how it works, so it's maybe something we can look into. Maybe it could be when you go to death bowling or when you start bowling certain balls to certain batsmen. I'm not sure what it's about.
Thanks for those. Ken?
Thanks, Bakazi. Afternoon, Charl, everyone. Charl, just to go back to Luukandla, you mentioned how hard it was for him. I mean, didn't play any cricket since March, and obviously not an ideal situation. And you said you guys did the sort of preparation work and that with him. But it seemed like on the actual field, when he was put under pressure, there was no one really going to go talk to him. Is that something that the team has spoken about? I mean, it looked like he was just kind of left on his own, with all this pressure on him.
Yeah, Ken, is things that we speak in length as me being personally used to bowling at the back end, so we try and get the team to rally around him, to support him. And that's a big thing is to get one of your senior bowlers or even anyone in the team, one of your senior players, just to pat him and say, okay, forget about that ball. It's all about the next execution and just be clear in your game plans. And it's a thing we speak about a lot.
How's it, Charl? Telford Vice here.
Hi.
How's it? Can you just talk us through, everybody says, we talk about white ball formats and test cricket and that the transition is the biggest leap there for bowlers. But can you talk us through some of the technical adjustments that you have to make from going from T20 to ODI as a bowler?
Yeah, it's also a mental thing. It's a technical thing where your release point in 4-day cricket, you're just bowling length most of the time. Now you all of a sudden you have to incorporate the release point of your Yorker because that's a bit different to your normal length. So it's a fine line, and it's just a volume of bowling and being able to try and execute under pressure. So it's a shift from high intensity, being under pressure and be able to execute when you put under pressure. And 4-day cricket is probably now, it's not the easiest, harder on the body, but mentally it's a bit easier than a T20 game.
Thank you.
Well,
Hi, Charl. I was wondering, after the good performance of someone like George Linder, where do you stand on sort of the ideal bowling attack in T20 cricket and also ODI cricket? 2 spinners, 3 paces, 6 bowling option. Where's your thinking at?
Hi, Dennis. I think we play the conditions. I think we saw in the first game the ball did turn. Paulie did turn, and Georgia is a tall bowler, so he gets extra bounce. He's quite accurate, and it just gives us another option. We're always looking for all-rounders. I think if you look at the England, they got a few all-rounders, so it just makes the competition and the selection options a lot bigger for us going forward. So when you travel and you play in conditions where you got spin, you got the option of playing 2 spinners, which is great for us.
Zahir, and then Firdous.
Charl, just on if you look at that England batting lineup, and they might lose David Malan and all those guys, and Ben Stokes, but in comes Joe Root and Moeen Ali. Would you say this is possibly the toughest test for a young bowling unit, this power-packed England batting lineup?
Yes, England.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. They got a well-balanced side. They got a lot of experience. These guys have been playing for a few years together as a team, as a unit. And for young bowler, I see it's a great opportunity to test your mental aspect of your game. They're gonna come hard at you. That's how they play. That's the nature. They play T20 cricket, 50-over cricket. So mentally, you need to be strong. When you are under pressure, you need to be able to execute, and they will learn from this. I think we could see now we got work to do with our bowlers, and it was in the first 2 games 2 big moments, and they won it. England won it, and we didn't execute under pressure, and that's what we learned from it. And it's being able to see that big moment, and then try and embrace it.
And Charl, how much will you miss KG in this one-day series?
Yeah, massive. KG is massive. He always strikes with a new ball. We speak a lot about being able to take wickets in the first 10 overs and then shift the pressure onto the batting side. But in saying that, it's another opportunity for a youngster to put up his hand.
Thanks, Zahir. Firdous, and then we'll finish English questions with Shoni.
Charl, 2 things. The one is if Andile Peklukayo is fit, would you want him in the side purely for having that extra all-rounder, or what kind of combination are you thinking of going with? And then the other one is, where is Junior Dala in the pecking order? I mean, we haven't seen him for a while. Would you have wanted to play him in the T20s, or are you seeing him as more of a one-day bowler?
Yeah, and Dala is to have that. If you got 6 bowlers in your team, it gives you another option. T20, 50 over cricket, he's been great for us. If you look at his one-day record, it's special. He does give you that option bowling at the back end as well. So if he is fit, we're going to have a look today, and then we're going to make a judgment on that if he would be able to play on Friday. Junior is purely 50 over, he bowls hard lengths. He's aggressive. You got 2 bounces, you got 2 white balls. So I see him very much part of our 50 over. And obviously, we worked on trying to upskill as well, try and get him to bowl slow ball, work on his Yorkers, that type of thing. So I still, we have to sit with the selectors this afternoon and see where he is. I think he's still very much part of our 50 over team, because he gives us that extra pace, aggressiveness with a white ball, 2 bumpers.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry, for those who said you had 2 questions?
No, they were both answered. Thanks.
Okay. Questions with Ken before we do Afrikaans first of all.
Okay. Hi, Charl. This is Hloni Timkula from ENCH. Just on the 4-day versus the T20s. I know Mark said that he'd have preferred a longer turnaround time, but given that players hadn't really been playing for some time, how do you manage that, and what do you prefer to have? Obviously more internationals going now, in terms of when you said earlier that it's about controlling the volume of the bowling that's there. And does this work for you, having the shorter turnaround time or not?
So that's the international cricket. The turnaround is a lot shorter now. Sometimes when we're going to have to travel, so we need to be clever. So we got our fitness trainer that manages the workloads. But as I said earlier on, it's being able to have that match intensity. So going from one format, which is a 4-day, into a T20 against the world number 1 or 2, it does put pressure on you. So we try and upskill them in the space. Like normally we'll have 5 days to prepare them. But as I said, the 2 warm-up games put us back. But I'm not going to make excuses, but we have to deal, because we're going to have future tours where we probably have even a quicker turnaround.
Ken?
Yeah. Charl, it seems in general that the bowling unit has been a bit better in ODIs, more consistent than in T20s lately. Is there any sort of specific reason for that you can think of?
Yes, the combination thing is lack of experience. If I come to T20 cricket, I think obviously, as I said, T20 cricket is more pressurized, is dealing with the pressure situation in that specific over, or when you're bowling, or when you're put under the pump. 50 over cricket, it's still high intensity cricket, but it's over a longer period. So batsmen will take their time, try and settle in. It gives time for the bowler also to get rhythm while he's playing in the game. So it's that type of thing. It's not a lot difference, but as I said, it's more T20 is high intensity, where 50 over you can settle into a rhythm, you can get used to the pitch, that type of thing.
Thanks, Ken. We'll take Percival.
Hallo, Charl, Percival Young van ENC. It's a voorreg om met jou te praat, meneer. Charl, net kortliks, I only get one bite to ask a few Afrikaans questions. I'm going to throw it at you, sir. Charl, net kortliks gevindig. Wat sal jy sê, waar het julle die reeks verloor in die T20 reeks? Dink jy dit was onder die covers, of dink jy dit was onder die bowlers gewees? En dink jy julle moet egter meer aggressief wees met die bowlwerk hier in die 50 50 beurte. Die ander vraag wat ek wil vra, wat se verlies gaan Kagiso, een van ons die land se beste bowlers wees vir julle as Proteas span? En dit laastens, om 'n leier soos Faf du Plessis te verloor, hoe groot van 'n verlies onder die leierskap gaan sy afwesigheid wees vir julle?
Ja, possible, yes. You asked me, jy het baie vrae gevra. Die eerste een wat ek kan antwoord is maar nou seker, in die T20 reeks, ek dink, dit was miskien 2 balbeurte wat ons kans gehad in eerste wedstryd op Nieuweland, het ons 'n kans gehad om die wedstryd te wen, Hendricks te gaan, en dit kan gebeur met enige bowler. Tweede game het ons weer kans gehad, ek dink het Kobus het 'n goeie telling op die scoreboard gesit, ek dink ons kon dit defend doen. En dan die derde game, ek dink Engeland het ons outplay in daardie wedstryd. Ek dink daar was genoeg. So dit is nie, ek sê nie is die Kobus, ek sê nie is die bowler, is die groot, when it came to the big moments in the game, het ons verloor, ja. Dan Faf is obviously 'n groot verlies vir ons experience. Maar obviously ons kyk na die 50 over World Cup en ons moet nou begin speel jonger spelers om hulle experience te gee. Dit is die grootste probleem ons kon sien, ja, ons is 'n lack in experience en hy wil spelers genoeg kans gee om internasionale cricket te speel voor 'n groot wêreldbeker.
En die vraag oor Kagiso Rabada, die feit dat julle nou 'n bietjie onder druk is om op die wenpad te kom. Hoe van 'n verlies is dit om 'n senior bowler soos Kagiso Rabada te verloor?
Ja, dit is groot, ja. Ek dink om Kagiso te skoene vol te staan is is nie baie spelers in die land om dit kan volstaan nie, maar soos ek sê, dit is 'n goeie opportunity vir 'n jonger speler om 'n kans te kry en sy geleentheid en sy vinger op te steek.
Charl, kan ek 'n laaste vraag vra? Gaan julle baie, I'm stating the obvious, maar is die benadering om baie meer aggressief dan te wees in hierdie eendag reeks van môre af?
Ja, definitief. Ek dink ons is aggressief met die call wees, ons gaan aggressief met die bal wees. Jy is allowed om 2 opslagballe te bal. 2 nuwe balle. So jy moet aggressief is teen 'n span soos Engeland kan jy nie terugsit nie, anders te gaan hulle groot tellings op die bord sit. Ek dink met die call ook, ons moet aggressief, ons moet obviously goed begin, middle period nog steeds die loopie tempo hoog hou en dan die einde probeer maximize.